Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Alion's Joy. I am so happy to be here and I'm so delighted that you are watching today. We are going to do a wonderful episode today, episode 2 of Stretch Away Your Stress. And I'm going to add on a little slideshow with some more exercises that you can put in your daily dose of yoga pose, as I sometimes call it, or in your routine when you wake up or before you go to sleep. So we're going to talk a little bit more today about the practical, the benefits of those poses, the practical applications of it, and what you're going to feel and how that keeps away your stress or anxiety, or maybe keeps it at a low level, or maybe helps you with that chronic pain. So last week we discussed a lot about that feeling of an uncomfortable body, discomfort, dis-ease, chronic pain, how we can help that, and how you also emotionally feel a lot better when you're feeling physically better. So we're going to talk about that today again. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Allianz Joy. My name is Elian Haan. I am your host of Allianz Joy, and I am in the wellness and fitness and health and feel good and life coaching business. So I can help you physically feel better by presenting and helping you exercise and inspiring you to move more and move forward, right? And move up ultimately. But if you do the things that you want to do once in a while at home with me, then you don't really need, like we discussed that last week, you don't really need to have the time to go to a fitness center, or maybe you're not always able to make that in your schedule um, uh, a weekly thing, right? Sometimes we just don't get there, and we don't have the time for an hour or for an hour and a half to do something that day. In other words, if you are not doing anything on a certain day and you don't feel the time to go outside, to go sports, to do some athletics, to do the things that you love to do outside, then do this with me just for a couple of minutes. And make it your routine even before you get to bed or in the morning when you get up, because it is so wonderful to stretch out, right? We have so many benefits, and my stretches are always a little application from the original yoga stretches, the yoga poses. And why do I say that? Because I like to, and what I love to do with my students and with my patients is that I like to make everybody feel better without making this whole boohoo of yoga really big, right? Because some patients, they have never done yoga and they work with me then. And I say, well, it helps with stress, it helps with anxiety, and let's bring that mind, body, spirit in. So let's bring that whole connection. Yoga means union, mind, body, union, and that is the meaning of yoga. But sometimes it's a little intimidating, right? And I mentioned this many, many times in my yoga practice over all these years. Let's make it approachable. Let's make it approachable from a point of view that everybody can do it, and in a sense that is everybody, right? So if you're not flexible, or if you're feeling just out of shape, or if you're just not feeling it, then just everybody has to be able to do these simple stretches to help yourself during the day with pain, with discomfort, with chronic pain, with a long time of sitting, with an endless flight in the air, with a long trip in the car, with that office thing, right? The chair. We sit. So we need to help ourselves with posture and with opening up that body, stretching it out to let those juices freely flow. And that is what part two today is also about. Last week we talked about the health benefits within. So the physical health benefits, like your blood pressure, might decrease, and just goes. There's more oxygenation. I can't talk. Oxygenation of the body. I try that later on again. Yeah, so we can help lower blood pressure a little bit. We have blood circulation improvement. We have a lower pulse rate because we just slow down. So slow down here, mama, right? Just nice deep breath and slow down. When you're doing those exercises, you kind of massage your organs. So it's very good for your internal family right there. It is very good for your cardiovascular endurance, and that just has to do with the fact that you are working every day out, right? You're exercising, so you lower your heart rate, and there's a combination of also that fitness, the things that you're doing for your body. And then we have definitely when we exercise, we're working on our immunity. We're getting stronger and we work on pain tolerance and pain management. So maybe sometimes it even kind of fades away. I've seen that so many times with my patients that I work with them on pain management because maybe I have patients in the addiction clinic where I work that are trying to get off their opioids, right? Pain pills. I talk about it all the time. We use it for everything. Oh, let's just call the doctor. Let's just pop a pill. Let's try to do it ourselves. So I am trying to inspire you to do it yourself. It's a little bit more work, but we can do it. So once we are into that better feel, then definitely we can kind of move away, move that pain out of our body. And with that, also move away the stress and move away the anxiety. So when we're going to the mental, I just mentioned the physical side of it. If we're going to the mental side, let's face it, number one, what do I really like? Just slow down that aging process, right? We just have to kind of keep moving and keep detoxifying and keep our body in shape and healthy. And it doesn't mean, in the way I used to approach fitness, that you have to be a size zero, but it means that strong is the new sexy, right? We want to kind of keep working out and keep doing something for our body. It also improves our posture tremendously. So if we're standing up straight, we are making room for that flow of nutrients. We are making room for that flow, the blood flow. And we are feeling that we're opening up and releasing the pain that we don't need emotionally and physically. And then we have, of course, we feel that some strength is coming back in, even if it's very little. Last week we worked the shoulders and we felt a little pressure. Maybe you feel that you have exercised your shoulders a little bit, or maybe you're just lifting small weights and doing that a couple of times during the day, even at home with some dumbbells to make you feel a little bit stronger in your upper body. And that is very important. And then what exercise does for us, yay, and we all need it. We need energy just to get through the day. And if you keep working out and you're just exercising in general, of course, but also if your body feels better, if you stretch the stress away, then overall we feel more energy because we feel more energy when we feel emotionally better. Emotional stress, anxiety will just drain us down. And I talked so much about that stress last week in the sense of it's daily. Not everybody necessarily has anxiety, but we all go through stress. That does not always even have to be a negative thing. If I say people that go on stage, right, that stage fright, that zzz, those physical symptoms that are setting in because you have to do something big, that might even be a positive form of anxiety. An exciting anxiety, I call that, because you have that same adrenaline, that same hormone zzz, flare up, and it makes you feel awake. It makes you super alive. And in sometimes with athletes or with people on stage or with performers, you feel that you need that. You need that zzz, otherwise you might not even go, right? Or you might not even accomplish that world championship thing that you just did. So for that reason, it's very good to balance that mind, body, spirit. More energy. Sometimes people ask me, is it also a matter of weight loss? If you are doing yoga or stretching, does it help with weight loss? Yes and no. I am not a nutritionist and I am not a dietitian. So I never tell my patients or my students that I don't give advice about diets or yes, you will. But of course, if you feel healthier, emotionally, you feel better. If you have more energy, mentally, you crave less and you don't feel that you need to just sit on the couch and eat all day. Yes, because that would not make any sense, right? But if you do an every day some working out, and every day maybe even getting a cardiovascular workout in, or you go to the gym and you work on strength, and then you stretch your body and you have that energy, then you should not have a problem losing some weight the long term. But that has exactly to do with that wonderful state of mind that we're talking about. If you are in a better mindset and you even believe that you are starting to feel and look better and you can see yourself in the future feeling that way, then you let that go. Maybe you're holding weight because you're stressed out. Maybe you're feeling bloated and you're feeling just really uncomfortable. Maybe you have some gastrointestinal problems. And if you let all that go, then sometimes we just feel a lot better and we feel that we can release the pain and the anxiety. So let me share some things with you that we did last week. I'm not even really sure if we did this wonderful stretch for our shoulders, but we did the shoulder roll, and maybe we did this neck stretch. I'm not really sure. I don't remember if we did that, if we started with it. But today I want you to feel that wonderful stretch in your neckline right all the way here. If you tilt your head a little bit to the side. And of course, we do that with a couple of breaths. So you can do this in the morning and just kind of tilt your head. You got to keep it in the mirror with your chin, your nose, and your forehead in the mirror so that you tilt straight sideways, right? So that my chin keeps leveled with the floor. And then we stretch this wonderful big sternocleidomastoid muscle right here in the back of our neck, and we feel that wonderful stretch. Do that with about 3 breaths, and then we go into what we worked on last week. We take some big stretches up and all the way back, right? I don't know in what order I did that, but I know that we did this wonderful stretch backwards just to open up your upper body and to feel really good. I know that we did this rotating twist to move our body and to make some room in our lower back. We did that as well. And today I'm going to add on some stretches that you can do on the floor. Now, I'm not going on the floor today, so I'm going to share that a little bit in a little slideshow with you. But these are very common poses. A lot of people are doing them. And I'll talk a little bit through it with you so that you exactly know what to do and why it feels so good. So today I'm going to share with you a little bit of these poses, and you can see exactly what I mean here if I say that. So we're talking again about the, where am I? Whoops. Am I sharing this? Yeah, share here. Bam. Yes, here we are. The stretching for stress relief. We're sharing that. We're talking about that. And I want you to do a few of those things with me. And the first one here is just sitting in a seated pose, right? So not everybody is able, I am definitely not able anymore to cross my legs over like that. But if you are still able somewhat to sit in a crisscross applesauce, then try that out. It's a very relaxing pose to sit in this basic meditation pose. And a lot of times I tell people if that is uncomfortable, just take your legs straight out forwards or even take one leg out straight out forwards. So you can try to keep your back straight up when you're sitting like this. And when you're sitting like this, even if that is uncomfortable because you just feel that you're slumping and rolling backwards a little bit and kind of slouching, then try to sit against the wall. That helps definitely. And even better, if you can sit and practice sitting straight up without the wall, then try to sit on a little pillow. So if you have a tiny little pillow or another mat rolled up underneath your sit bones, you can really lengthen your spine and try to sit up as straight as possible. So this seated pose, the Sukhasana, it helps with gradual strengthening the back muscles and improving the posture. And that's just what I said, right? We want to kind of come out of this and come straight up. And we'll definitely talk a lot about that telling you a little bit more about that because the back muscles and sitting up straight and improving that posture is so important here. So we definitely want to try that easy pose. Sometimes I get off the couch while I'm watching TV and I put my little pillow on the floor so it's easier for me to go cross my legs and I really sit up straight and I just focus while I'm watching TV. Maybe I'm even watching a good movie, but I'm still trying to focus on just lengthening my spine and letting the juices flow. It feels so good. So this is a standing forward fold. It is not, absolutely not important that you can touch your toes or that you're on the floor with your hair or wherever you are. If you are just a little bit less than this or a whole lot less, that's all okay. It's all about stretching the hamstring, the glutes, and the lower back all together. And what I like to tell people when they try that for the first time, bend your knees a tiny little bit so you take more of the pressure off the hamstrings and it goes back into the lower back. So that feels better if you focus on the lower back and the hamstrings release a little bit. So it's a huge stretch. It also feels good just because you're hanging out forwards and you kind of forget your name when you do that, right? You're kind of upside down. So that just feels good. So in the standing forwards fold, we definitely want to reduce that stress and fatigue. The blood flow goes all over, right back to your head and then slowly roll back up. Don't stay there too long. That would be very uncomfortable. Stay there for one or two deep breaths and then roll up very nice and round. So as a round, you round your back when you roll up, and it definitely is good for fatigue. It stimulates the liver, of course, right in that lower belly, lower back area, the kidneys, and it's also good for headaches. So that is great. Sleep well, of course. Hopefully, because you are doing enough stretches during the day and you're doing a good dose of breathing, right? Focused attention breathing, because you bring your awareness every day, hopefully a couple of times in that mindfulness mode. And if that is the case, then you're doing great. You'll sleep better. Absolutely. Now, this is the child pose, and the child pose is when we sit on the floor and we try to pull our weight all the way back with our sit bones on our heels. Then you go all the way over forwards. And sometimes people say, well, that's uncomfortable for me. Definitely. I do it too. Open your knees a little wider and just kind of put your belly in the center and crawl in that space. So that what happens is that your back can really stretch out as round as possible. And what it does so well, it decompresses the lower spine. It decompresses the lumbar spine, and that really is necessary because that's where we put so much pressure. That's where we are so tight. That's where we feel that pressure so much. So we want to open up into that lumbar spine. And if you do that child pose a couple of times a day, even better. The more you can do it, even if you wake up or before you go to bed, it is so mind soothing and it is so good for your kidneys and for your belly again and for your lower back. And also, what we feel here is that we embrace our inner child. That's why it's called child pose. We embrace our inner child. So we stretch all the way excessively and we put pressure on our adrenal glands just above the kidney, and that can normally lead to burnout. So this is perfect for soothing the adrenals. So when we stress excessively, we put too much pressure, and we feel burnout. And this is a good way of releasing that. So this balasana pose can help reduce stress. That's perfect. Yes. This is not always an easy pose, a bridge pose for everybody to do, but when you lay flat on your back, you start all the way flat. You pull your heels in gently towards your hips and make sure that your feet are hip width apart. Then you put your hands, more so than this model, just put your hands flat on the floor and just push with your hands your hips off the floor. And just all you need to do is that. It doesn't need to be this far and beautiful and high up and everything, but just what makes you feel good is just pushing your hips a little bit off the floor. So now we're kind of like in an extension, right? But it also strengthens the back muscle. So now we're really using the back muscles, the hamstrings, and the buttocks. And so here as well, we have circulation of blood, it improves digestion, and it's definitely good for high blood pressure, and it can help with back pain, with fatigue, with insomnia, if you can't sleep, and with headaches. And that is definitely something that we do a lot for headaches. Either legs up the wall, we talk about that next time, or just this little bridge pose. So if you have a headache, then that is really just kind of releasing and relieving the pain. And it also stimulates the lungs, the thyroid, and the abdominal organs. So the bridge pose is a very healthy one. And yay, we feel better. Yay, release that stress. Now, this is a wonderful pose, the triangle pose. I usually use a block in my practice for my patients and clients so that we can have our left hand here or our right hand close by the foot on a block. So we don't have to go all the way down. The practice is really just opening and twisting that upper body. And we did that a little bit in somewhat of a simpler form last week. And this time you open and spread your legs and you just go all the way towards, sliding down one leg towards your foot. You don't have to go this far down, but it's definitely really good. And definitely for your back, right? We're moving that back into a spinal rotation, and the spine needs to do that. It's so good to keep that flexibility in the spinal column. So in the triangle pose, we have the perfect full body stretch. We relieve stress and anxiety. And it's also very much a yoga pose. So yay, now you're a yogi when you do that. It really helps you stretch your lower body areas as well, right? I definitely feel my hamstrings, so much back of my knees even, and in my thighs and ankles. And it definitely helps with that sciatic pain, and that's because of that rotation. And I've done many shows on that. So if you want to look that back up, or we'll come back to it, then we'll talk about that sciatic pain. And always osteoporosis. Right now, I suffer from that, and that is not a pretty feeling when that flares up. It's really that chronic pain. In my case, it's a hip and a knee, but keep pushing it away. So definitely here we see that that is a really wonderful pose. And if you can do this a couple of times a day, the cat pose, we're grounding our back as a cat all the way up. So really feel that stretch again, and then release it and let your back fall down. In that cat pose, you see another really huge stress reliever, a huge stretch for your spine. So good for emotional balance and very good for all that feeling in your back, your hamstrings, your hips. So as much as we talked last week about that upper body and stretching out, oh yeah, we did a lot of rolling with the shoulders and a lot of lifting the shoulders and putting them back down. So that was really important for the upper body. And now if we can, just making those stretches, folding forwards, or kind of touch your toes a little bit. Relax the back of your knees a little bit so we're not really getting that huge hamstring stretch that doesn't feel good. And then just get off the couch and just sit on the floor for a little bit. Get that little pillow underneath your bottoms, because if you sit a little higher, it is easier on the hamstrings. If you sit a little higher up. So I'm kind of lifting myself a little bit off the floor to sit a little bit higher up. Give myself a little pillow underneath or a rolled up mat. Then it's easier for me to stretch out forwards. And if you feel a little not so good, uneasy with that forward fold, because maybe we talk about fall risk, excuse me, a lot, right? Fear of falling. If you don't have anything to hold on to, or you just don't want to just bend forwards, then you can do that on the floor. So you can just sit on that little pillow, try to lengthen Maybe even cross your legs or take them straight out forwards and then bend to the legs forward. So stretch and reach out. And then always, remember, always relax. When you reach out to the toes, relax your back, your neck, your shoulders, your head all the way down. Because then again, we don't hold that tension in our shoulders. And that's where it all goes, believe me. So if we have that wonderful stretch on the floor, then we feel a lot better about it. And in that pose, from there, we try to hold it for 3 deep breaths. And sometimes you want to relax and release a little bit and do another one. And sometimes you just want to do that one. Whatever you do, it doesn't need to be in this order, but take all these 10 exercises or all these, what did I do, maybe 11, 12 exercises together or apart. So you can do them all if you feel that you have 10, 15 minutes, or you can just do them maybe two or one or three at a time. And if you have time, just start with one, get off the couch, do that for a little bit, and just take some really deliberate, nice, deep breath with it. Just feel that breath flow through your nose. Always inhale through your nose. It's really good for your body. Inhaling through your nose and then slowly exhale. And just when you exhale, again, feel that all that stress is floating away. That's what you want. You want to inhale new life and new energy and oxygen and wonderful. And then slowly let go of what you don't want to hold on to. So let go of stress, let go of pain, discomfort. Sometimes we just have to let go of grief and stress that was just with us the whole week. Pain, right? We all go through it. We all have this humongous amount of life around us that comes at us all the time. If you feel that these exercises are helping you, keep doing them. I don't even doubt that they keep helping you because I have done this for so long with my students, clients, patients, in my life practice, at my addiction rehab facility, in my private yoga studio. So if you are doing these things, I know you're going to feel better because we don't always have time for the other things that we planned to do during the day, right? The other exercises, the fitness, the gym, the dance class, the walk. We don't always have time. But this you can make time for, even if you're at home at night or if you just wake up. So pick a few, start with it, see how you feel, and see how that emotionally and mentally helps you improve and helps you push away some of those moments that you just can't do it anymore. That's where I want you to go to. I want you to feel lighter because your body helped you and your hormonal, impact there helped you feel a lot stronger, feel a lot better. So thank you for tuning in with me today. Let's stretch for stress. It doesn't matter what you call it. If it's a little yoga, if it's a little stretching, that is not important. With me, we don't do Instagram yoga. With me, you do everyday yoga for every body. So just nice, big, super stretches. Get that body back on, feeling better. So I hope you will do that with me. And if you have any questions, please reach out. You can find me anywhere. You can find these um, exercise videos on YouTube as well. And of course, we are on the television. We are on Win-Win Women TV. I'm so glad to be here with you. Hope that I brought you some joy and that you are finding out through Elian's joy that we can all do this together because we care and we share. And I love to do this with you. So tune in next week. We're going to do something completely different, but it's always about the mind, the body, and the spirit. Always. So keep strong and keep going forwards, keep moving up, keep moving forwards, and definitely keep moving. Reach out to me, www.elianhaan.com, elianhaan.com. On my website, you can find out how to reach me for questions regarding fitness or exercise, questions regarding mind, body, spirit, questions regarding life coaching, or anything else that you would like to find out. It's all there. It's all there. I am blessed. Thank you so much for watching today. Wonderful. See you next week.